I'm Steve Wilkerson, and I'm with Jim Saunders, Executive Editor of the News Service of Florida. Jim, a long-time fixture and leader in education and state government, and also Lieutenant Governor, other titles. Frank Brogan, Chancellor of the State University System, most recently announced that he was leaving Florida to go take the position of essentially Chancellor of the State University System of Pennsylvania. And I was caught off guard. Were you?
Yeah, the timing of it particularly surprised me. I didn't see it coming. He was going to have to retire within a couple years anyway because of some program he's in with the retirement system. So we knew it was coming at some point, but this kind of came out of the blue, and going to Pennsylvania to take a very similar position was again, something that I don't think a lot of people saw.
Well, let's talk about what are the factors that may have been involved in this decision. He's been such an adamant advocate for education at all levels. Were there any reasons that might have compelled him in his own mind to leave early?
Well, you know Frank, and I mean, he smooths everything over. He's one of the most outgoing, kind of charming people around the Capitol, has been for years. So it's a little bit hard to tell, because when he resigned, he said everything was fine, and the governor's office said everything was fine. But there has been some kind of tumultuous things going on in the university system over the past few years. A lot of it related to funding. When times were bad, the legislature made fairly significant cuts in the funding for universities. They put some of that money back this year. But the big fight lately has been about tuition. The legislature wanted a 3% tuition increase. The governor vetoed that. The governor's made a big deal about not increasing tuition, which some of the universities went along with him, but most of them had minor tuition increases this year. So there's been a lot of question about funding for the universities, which kind of goes up right to Brogan's office. I mean, they've got to oversee the whole system and try to make sure it's adequately funded while balancing the whole, the governor's position is that families can't afford higher tuition at this point. So there's that balancing going on. And, it's a little bit hard to tell where Frank Brogan was in that whole debate, but I have a feeling that it's been on his mind a lot. So.
Okay. Well, at the same time that's going on, you have at the K through 12 level, Education Commissioner Tony Bennett resigning his job, leaving open another key leadership position in education in the state of Florida. That leaves a big decision for the State Board of Education to determine what to do. Well, what's the aftermath of that? Who's kind of leading the ship right now?
Well, that's one of the, with Brogan leaving the higher education system and Bennett leaving the, essentially the K-12 system, but it also includes the community college or state colleges. But that to me is one of the most interesting parts of this, is that, at a time when the governors run around the state talking about education issues, everybody's focused on education. Right now, we don't have a chancellor of the university system, and Tony Bennett left the Department of Education. There is an interim commissioner there who's been around for a while, so she probably provides some stability. But in terms of long-term direction, it's a little bit hard to know where things are going right now. The state board has not really, as far as I know, has not really said how they're going to replace Tony Bennett, but they got some big issues coming up. There's a whole issue of Common Core standards, which is a national issue that Florida faces, and implementing that is a big deal, and it's controversial. And and the commissioner was going to be taking the lead on that. So it's a little bit, the timing is interesting at this point.
Well, there's another interesting issue. We've gone, I think today's a 5-month anniversary, a milestone, where the state doesn't have a lieutenant governor. And I don't know about you, but I've been lying awake at night worrying about it.
Well, I'm not sure that would describe how I've handled it, but yeah, I mean, it's this sort of vacuum. I mean, Jennifer Carroll left in March because of this whole scandal about internet cafes. She had done some business for internet cafes. And the governor said at that point, well, we'll wait till after the legislative session, we'll get a new lieutenant governor. That time passed. Then in July, he says, well, we're going to, we're starting the process. And now it's August and we still don't have a lieutenant governor. So I'm not sure anybody knows what's really going on, except probably the governor and maybe his chief of staff. But apparently he doesn't think it's so important to have a lieutenant governor. So,
well, let's remind everybody what happens if, unfortunately, something happened to the governor.
well, the attorney general would move into that role if so. I mean, it's not like there is a safeguard in case something would happen. But, the lieutenant governor gets elected with the governor, and you would presume that it would be an important position. But we've gone 5 months, and I don't know that anybody's really missed it that much. So.
Could be. Thank you, Jim. For more news about Florida politics and government, visit the Advances section of our website.